Hello, everyone. This is Nousheen Mukhtar, and you're watching another episode of the Trailblazers podcast. Today, our guest is a versatile entrepreneur, a leader who wears many hats and is ready to inspire us with amazing conversation. You're going to hear some interesting stories today. I can guarantee that. So, today I have invited Premal Patel to be with us to share the story of his journey and to inspire us towards the greatness and the ease with which he wears so many hats. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nousheen. Thank you for having me here.
You're very welcome. So, from being a leader in retail media, creating many different loyalty programs and understanding customers, becoming a people's person, an amazing, inspiring author, and then launching TKOP events. How has been the journey? Where did you start, by the way?
Yeah, you've been too kind with all of your words, but thank you. My journey started from a very young age, right? So, just to give you a little bit of history, my family were from East Africa in Nairobi. We went to London, so I did all my education there. Unfortunately, I lost my father at a very young age in Kenya before we came to London when I was 2 years old, right? So I never really had a father figure. So we were brought up in very humble beginnings. So at the age of 11, I had a bit of a hunger to help with the household bills. So I started working in a marketplace, which was a huge market in London, with my uncle and my cousin on a Sunday. And we were there selling, floorings and doormats. And that got me my first experience of dealing with customers and how hard and easy it is, and how you engage people in a conversation. And when they like working with, and when they like you and you build trust, they buy from you. People buy people, and that's generally what I learned at a very young age. And I got hooked. So then I started working in other bigger retail companies, even in Harrods in the UK part-time when I was studying just to earn some cash. And I got a real connection to retail. And that's how I got into the whole retail and consumer loyalty space.
So, how many years have you spent working in retail area?
In the retail area, sort of on and off, it's within my sort of 30-year career, it's been probably about 10 years of retail. But I've probably done, and then I've done another 10 years in financial services. And then I've done another sort of 10 years in and out of agency world and some of my own business as well. So it's been a bit of a mix. I've got a bit of a squiggly career, as you call it. It hasn't been a linear line of just one company and moving up the ladder, even though that's what used to happen in the old days, and my grandfather used to always tell me, stick with the bank, because my first job graduating was with a bank. He was a banker for 45 years in the same company. Right. So he was always under the impression you can stick with the same company, but the world moved on. So you have to adjust. And I realized very quickly that if I don't have a mixed experience of some international markets, different sectors, it's easy to become complacent in a single job. And also it's easy to be displaced, with that job because you don't have the multi-skill. And I wanted to build multi-skills, and that's what I did.
It's impressive. When you say multi-skills, I'm thinking about some 10, 15 plus areas that you have touched. So if we try to estimate, how many different industries roughly have you touched?
So different industries. So, oh my God, I'd probably say if I look at sectors, between the agency work I did with clients and in actually working within is probably about 15 different sectors. So this is from, nice. From healthcare, from telco. I've done financial services, and financial services is very broad. So I did retail banking. I've done the corporate banking side. I've done fintech. I've been involved in fintech, digital payments, and then all the way through to, health and well-being. I've done shopper marketing. I've worked with big grocery retailers. And, in my last corporate job, we were working with about 120 retailers and about 8,000 brands, all amazing. Doing the shopper marketing promotion. So that was a huge, diverse portfolio of different clients and interactions. And I loved that because I don't like the same happening every single day. I like having a bit of unknown and uncertainty every day, because that's the thing that gives me the fire in my belly to get up and say, right, what am I going to do today? And what am I going to achieve by the end of the day? And that's how I've created my career for many years.
Very interesting. What were some of the very monstrous challenges you had in retail sector?
Retail is a really hard business. To sell one product off the shelf, the sort of getting that product to the shelf is a huge challenge in itself, because you have logistics issues and challenges. So that was one, making sure products came on time and you shifted the product quickly through promotions and marketing. And what I always thought, that marketing was really easy. That was many years ago, and I actually studied marketing, as part of my degree. And I thought, how hard can this be to just do an ad and get people to, this sounds really good. But to get people to influence behavior and shape people's perception about a brand, it's not easy. It's hard. You have to get the wording right. You have to get the messaging right. You have to position right. And there's so much more when people just see the end result, which is an ad. They said, how hard can it be to put a poster? It's a difficult process, But I think actually interacting with teams and engaging teams and getting people leading teams in a way that empowers them and enables them, that's also a very difficult process. It's not an easy one for everyone, and that's why we have managers and leaders. Not everybody can be a leader, and being a manager is a good thing. It's not such a bad thing, but everyone has this perception, I have to be a leader, and it's how you become a leader in your own way and be comfortable with your strengths,
Yes. So what makes a good leader?
What makes a good leader? Great question. It's evolved over many years, but I'd say there's probably three things that makes a good leader. One is you have to stop doing the day-to-day. You have to enable and empower your team to get the work done and leave them with the freedom to get it done. So you have to be very comfortable that you've set the direction and you've given them the actual tools to get it done, let them get it done. As a leader, you have to accept the fact that mistakes are going to happen. Many leaders don't. They don't want mistakes. And that's where the fear comes in organizations sometimes of, I don't want to speak to my boss because there may be consequences, so I've got something wrong. But if you allow for mistakes, allow for that openness, then you actually get better results, you get better creativity. And I think as a leader, you have to set a vision. So a very strong skill of a leader is to set that vision and then set the direction of travel and then let the organization go down that way.
Yes, very true. What is the third quality?
So the third quality in a leader is very much around understanding that you have to develop talent. So if you are not going to develop talent and let people grow, people will move. So what you want to do as a leader is retain your best talent. But many people will just say, okay, it's fine, it's fine. If they leave, we'll replace them. It's not easy to replace, and it costs the company a lot of money to replace people and even to try and find them. So I'd say, making sure that each individual feels that they are known. So you have to know people on a personal level. The challenge in today's world for a leader is everything's moving so fast with technology, right? All the advancements, there's AI, there's all the tools, the solutions, everything. You forget sometimes about people. You forget to have that conversation at the coffee station or the water cooler or whatever, because you're just thinking about, I have to deliver. And I think sometimes as a leader, you have to think, how do I take a step back and spend time with my team? The more time you spend with the team's going to be more engaged. You'll retain the best talent, and the productivity of the organization will grow.
True. So during your career, when we were talking earlier, you said that it was multi-industries, multi-cultures. So how many different cultures are we talking about here?
So I've worked across I've actually physically worked in 3 different continents. So I had, the Middle East is one, and, I've been in the UK and Europe. But I have worked across, the US and into Asia and into, Africa as well. So I've worked across many different diverse cultures, and you have to, as a leader, adjust your style. You can't expect, and this is probably one of the 4th skills of a leader. If you expect others to adjust for you, that's the old world. In the old world, that worked. In the new world, which is moving at a very fast pace now, you have to adjust. So it's all about how you adapt to the market, to the culture, to the organization, and not expecting everybody else to adjust to you. So Africa is very different to Asia and to the Middle East. There's some commonalities, in terms of the way people behave and culture, and there's sometimes in the Middle East and Africa, there's a very hierarchical way of working, because everyone respects the leadership. You go to the Western world, you get much more opinionated individuals in organizations who very quickly will challenge openly around the table the leaders, and some leadership, that takes a bit of getting used to, but that's the new world that we're in.
True. When it comes to developing your leadership skills, what was one most defining moment that brought a shift forward for you?
That's a great question. So one defining moment in terms of the leadership skills. So I'd say there was one moment when I was in banking, very early days in my career, and I went for a promotion, and I thought I was ready. And I was prepared for the interview, had the interview. I thought I aced it. It was a senior manager role, and they said no. And the defining moment was I was rejected because of the color of my skin.
Oh my God.
So that really hit me hard, because I heard the comment in the room while I was having the interview at the end. 2 people on the panel, and one of them said, "He's good, but he's not the right color." And they couldn't wait for me to leave the room to even say the comment. And that resonated with me for a long time. So I knew at that point, it's a hard process to get promotions when you are maybe not, culturally fitting in, and you are basically of a different ethnicity. And I think this whole world of like diversity, inclusion, equality becomes really important. There's more talk about it now, but many years ago, nobody cared.
Yeah, and it was more difficult.
It's very, very difficult, and nobody cared. So that was a really defining moment for me. Literally the next day I resigned from that job with no job to go to, and I thought, I'm not staying in a culture that doesn't fit with, my values and my ethics, and it's just one of those things that, really switched the sort of light bulb in my head to say, okay, there's a certain way of working now in certain organizations. And that was in the banking world in the UK. And I said, right, that's it. I'm done.
No, that was the right decision.
Yeah.
That was the best decision you made in your life.
It was. Absolutely. It sort of triggered me to come to the Middle East, in fact. So after that period, I came to Saudi, and I joined, Riyadh Bank in Saudi Arabia. A lot of people thought, why is he going from London Financial Centre to Riyadh back in 1997?
Yes, because the culture is completely different.
Very different. I loved every minute and second of my time that I went to Saudi Arabia. Honestly, I met, I still have some very good friends now from the time I was at Riyadh Bank. We did some fantastic work, but people didn't open their eyes. They had this perception of Saudi, from the outside. It's very different when you're actually in the country, and in the market working with individuals.
Right. I believe that is the case. I've been to Riyadh very recently, and it's a completely different world
changed.
now, not like it was before.
Yeah.
So all the stereotypes are gone. So how do you balance ambition with the way you are progressing?
So I'm a dreamer, and I dream a lot. I used to when I was younger about, where I want to be and where, what type of sort of business I want to run and what sort of future I want to create. Dreams only come true if you put an action plan together, and that's how you achieve your ambition. Without an action plan, it doesn't work. So ambitions also, sometimes change over time. As you start, if you're on your own, young, you have, certain ambitions. But as you have a family, I've got three kids, all older now. But your ambitions start moving, and a lot of my focus has been around, okay, what's good for them? What can I do to help them elevate in their careers going forward? But my ambition's not over. I am still hungry, and I'm in my mid-50s now. And I think I've got a way to go. I've got ambitions for TKOP World, which is my business, both in the UK and also here in UAE. And I want to scale that business in a manner which is all about creating and building better human connections. That's where my ambition sits. So if I don't do any projects, I don't take on any work unless it helps me achieve that purpose. Do I want to be, a billionaire or whatever? Not really. I think sometimes having a lot more money, it's good, but it's, causes its own problems. But I think it's more about doing great work, and it's about inspiring other people and improving the quality of life of as many people as I can. I think that's my ambition.
So perhaps this purpose is behind the foundation of Healthy Minds Club
That's
in
right.
the UAE, which is quite new. So we want to know more about the Healthy Minds Club, and why did you decide UAE to be the place where it rests?
Sure. So look, Healthy Minds Club has actually been around in the UK for 5 years, right? Okay. So it's got a good track record in the 5 years. I'm not the founder, but I'm the owner of Healthy Minds Club in the UAE, right? So that's how it works. But I came across the founders a couple of years ago when I was in a big marketing agency looking for the right support for my team. Because everyone was going through a high pressure. We were working with retail, and it was a 24/7 business, 365 days. In fact, the only day we were actually closed operationally was on Christmas Day. That's it. So it was a full-on high-pressure environment, and I needed to support the team. And I came across Healthy Minds Club, which offered a whole range of different services. So what Healthy Minds Club in the UAE offers is a platform and an app. It's fully personalized. So every individual who comes into the platform after they've just completed a little survey, they see different content. Everyone sees different content because it's personalized to you. But you get a range of coaches and mentors and therapists to have a look at their bios, and you can go in and say, hey, I'm feeling really stressed at work. Who can I talk to? You can see the bios. If you like somebody, you can book a call. You can talk to that person. But along that, we have a whole range of resources like videos and training and products that can help to improve healthy minds. Right now, the UAE, and why the UAE first? Because the UAE is the first international market that we're going into. The UAE, I see it. People used to work really hard, but they're working really hard now. And I see people working long hours and under immense pressure. Leaders also, when I talk to the leaders, they're struggling to think, how do I help my team get through the pressure points? And the pressure points are now happening every day. So HR teams are now struggling to think, where's the support? What Healthy Minds does is bring a one-stop shop of all of the support you need to reduce stress at work, to improve work-related pressure, to improve that cycle, and to suddenly improve productivity overall for the organization. Our ultimate goal, if you think globally, about 30% of employees are thriving. Which really means 70% of people are not thriving, and most of them are feeling some level of or some symptom of burnout or stress. And we've sort of turned stress into more resilience building, because I think now there's a generation of people coming into the workforce who are not as resilient as maybe some were 20 years ago, where, you had to do many, many things all at once and you just did it. Whereas now people, they choose where to go. They want to have a better, balance of life balance after COVID, so things have changed.
Yes.
And the mood has changed for people and organizations. And that's what Healthy Minds does. So Healthy Minds Club is a really simple, access point.
I feel that it's also a community, not just an access point, because it connects people with people. They can share their grievances and their problems.
It's sort of, so a lot of it is confidential because, everyone has an individual challenge and they can go and talk confidentially to experts. But the community of experts, they're sharing some best practice. They're sharing what's happening.
Okay.
There's a community of the members that come in, and then there's the corporate community.
Right.
So there's three sort of groups that are forming, all trying to improve that common challenge of reduce stress and improve the mindset of people. It's all about the mental health of employees. If you think, in the UAE, last year alone, 2.6 billion dirhams were spent on supporting mental health for employees in medical services. That's a huge amount.
It's a huge amount.
Even if we shifted the dial by 5% of that, it's a massive amount for corporates, for their profitability and their top line.
True.
And it improves people's well-being. So, the happier people are, the more productive they'll be,
True.
And UAE's got a happy index and it's one of the happiest places to work, but people are still working under a lot of pressure. So, we're just trying to balance that out and see how we can help.
This is a good cause. So do you think that the Healthy Minds Club intends to have in-person events in future for its members?
Yes. So we have a roadmap. So right now it's a platform and an app. And it's all working really well. So, it's there. But going forward, I would love to see, more in-person sort of physical environments around that can bring the sort of the essence of Healthy Minds Club into a physical environment, So that's something in the plan for sort of next year. We want to roll out across the region, going into next year.
So we can expect some wellness retreats, some meditation sessions.
Well, watch this space. It's coming. It's coming. So there's definitely things that we have got planned for next year, from retreats, from, physical environment, working spaces, etc. So, we want to create, a really nice business that people feel comfortable working in. We want to, get a team, together, and we want to, make sure that companies feel that there's some really good service for them and assistance at an affordable rate. So we want to make it easy for companies and corporates. We want to make it easy for employees to access, 24/7, and we might make it affordable.
Okay.
That's generally how we're doing it. And when I say affordable, it's when I'm going out talking about the price point, people are very surprised that the rate that we're going in, surprised that it's so low.
Okay, that needs checking out now.
Yeah.
Everybody should go and check it out.
So as a member, there's 3 subscription tiers. The lowest is 9 dirhams a month.
Oh dear, seriously?
Right? And the highest is only 60 dirhams a month. So it goes 9, 40, 60. So at 9 dirhams a month, it's not going to be a bank breaker, right? And even after, what we do is we say, take 30 days, try it out. If you don't like it, you cancel, and but nobody's canceled so far.
That's a good sign. It's promising.
Yeah.
So going back to the other company, the TKOP World Events, what is the purpose here? Are we looking at some corporate events coming forward, which will bring the world leaders to the UAE?
100%. So TKOP events, I previously, used to run events for, years ago, and I loved that fire in my belly that I got when you have a successful event, and everyone says that was a good event. That's success for me. And we used to run conferences. We did all sorts of, workshops, round tables, and I loved that. Pulling it together, organizing it. It's a headache, but it's a really great thing when it comes together. So what are we doing? We're bringing one particular main event next year. It's a proposition from the UK called the Business Culture Awards.
Okay.
So that has been running for 10 years in the UK, very successfully. At my previous company, we won 2 awards in the Business Culture Awards, and then I was a judge. So that's how I got close to the proposition. And I said, we've got to take this globally. So I spoke to the organizers, we've partnered, and we're bringing it to Dubai. In fact, on 12th of May next year, it's the Business Culture Awards MENA. And it's all to do with recognizing culture change, culture transformation, and culture leadership. And if you think what's happening now in the UAE specifically and across MENA, there's a huge shift in looking at leaders looking at the culture of their organization. Do we have the right values? Do we have employees who are engaged? Do we have CSR programs that are really affecting the community and impacting the community? And how are we doing with talent development and talent leadership, local talent and the wider diverse cultural talent? So there's so many different aspects of culture and organizational culture that we're going to bring best practice, to the table, and that this will attract some international brands and some international leaders to come in.
Very interesting. What do you think are some of the trends at the moment in customer loyalty? You've been an expert in customer loyalty.
Yeah.
Right? So what are some of the trends that are riding the wave and you feel that they need attention?
So the first thing, and this may not go with what a lot of other people think, the old points that everybody earns when you have loyalty, sometimes, the points-based programs, I think that's dying. That's a dying breed now. Nobody cares about these points because nobody understands the value of these points. You may earn 1,000 points, 2,000 points. Most often you don't know what's the equivalent dirham amount of those points. Nobody wants to calculate these things. So the changes that are taking place is, first, digital is leading. So you have to start digital. If you don't have a digital loyalty scheme as part of your program and it's only a physical card, it's not going to be sustainable. Digital is important. Personalizing the actual rewards and offers for you, for me, for each individual. Unless the organization knows you as an individual, you will not exchange your data because what they want is your data. Because data is gold. Then what they do with the data, so you're willing to exchange your data for value, but you need your personal value. So personalization, critical. And the second thing is, how do they keep you engaged in a loyalty program across the mobile app, e-commerce, or the store? How does that all link? So this is called unified commerce. So this unification of the channels and the marketing will start creating a much better ecosystem for you as a shopper. So you know exactly what you're going to get whichever format or platform you're shopping in. Gamification is the big next thing. It's already here. It's around the world, but gamified engagement to keep you engaged on the app. It's really hard to stay engaged on an app. I mean, how many apps do people have these days?
Seriously. These days, when you go to every store
everywhere.
has an application.
And if you haven't got one, they'll say, quickly download this.
Yes.
You can get these. Yeah, I'll help you. I'll do this. I'll do this. Then how do you keep engaged? Most often now, gamification is doing that. So, if you can play a little game and feel engaged and rewarded on watching a video on social media for the brand, or putting a survey together, or doing something around this, and you get rewarded straight away, that's gamification. So it's personalization and gamification is going to be the new wave. The final piece on loyalty is all about the customer experience. Customer experience is going to be the integral focal point for customer loyalty. So your experience in all of those different formats, in-store, e-commerce, mobile, and the customer service reps who you might call if you've got a problem. If this isn't joined up and they don't know you, what type of experience you're looking for, I think that's where a lot of retailers get it wrong. Because they think, okay, we'll give you the in-store experience, but then straight away you get a better offer on your e-com or your mobile. You're not going to be a happy customer because you've just shopped somewhere, same product, you've got a different deal over here. So that experience doesn't work. So that's why this unified commerce becomes really important.
Yes, very true. And we see a lot of shift happening through unified commerce.
Yeah.
This being said, when you see that nothing is permanent but change, that's very true. And you see that there's so many shifts happening across industries all the time. And customers are stormed with different information through marketing campaigns. Where should the focus lie from customers' perspective? We'll talk in details. First, customers' perspective, then brand's perspective.
So look, the focus, everything an organization does in today's world, you have to put the customer first. So the customer is in charge. So in fact, now it's about organizations being loyal to the customer, not customer being loyal to the organization. That's the switch. Now, many organizations don't have that mindset. They keep thinking, why are they not loyal to us? What's going on? They should be, we're giving them rewards, we're doing this, but they're not thinking from a customer lens. The customer wants just a simple transaction, easy flow, simple experience, get the product. People don't have time. So the convenience of where you can buy products, the convenience of a customer, they want to buy a product when they want to buy it, at the time they want to buy it, from the place they want to buy it. It's not because someone over here says you buy at this time that you're going to go and buy this, because it may not be convenient for you. So from a customer point of view, customers are becoming much more demanding, and that's good because it improves the innovation and everything else that they see from the other side. So be more demanding as a customer, 100%. And with AI and all the tech, it's going to become even harder, and more customers will want even more faster. From an organization point of view, when you're talking brands and retail, they're struggling to keep up with the change that customers are influencing, because they're changing their habits very fast. And if you don't provide that good level of detail and that support, they'll switch. It's easy for them to find an alternative. You go on Google now, you can find 5, 6 different alternatives for the same product. So the organizations, they are not nimble and agile enough right now, but AI is driving that. AI and tech advancements, they're driving that. Unfortunately, with all of that change, it's impacting, we go back to the well-being of those employees, because they are scared of either losing their jobs or being displaced because technology is going to take over a process that they've been managing for years. So the agility of the mind versus the tech, they're poles apart right now, and so people need to think, how do I utilize AI to my advantage? How do I learn about AI? And most people think, okay, the company has to teach me. But no, you have to take the learning skills and capability as your own accountability. If you want to stay relevant, you got to learn.
Yes, that's very true. Staying relevant is the key word now.
Yeah.
What can we do to stay relevant as an entrepreneur? We are going to discuss everything now from the perspective of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Relevance.
So the biggest challenge, as an entrepreneur and to stay relevant is you have to be prepared to put in the hours. That's the first thing, right? It's not uncommon to be putting in 14, 18-hour days, right? If not longer sometimes. It's very different when you come out of the corporate world where you have huge teams doing things for you. As an entrepreneur, you have to do everything to start because you don't have a big team. The difference is that you have to spend time and be very disciplined on your diary. And you have to put time in to learn. You have to learn new skills. The AI, what AI tools will help me in my business so I don't have to suddenly recruit people that I don't need to, but I recruit the right people to do maybe the sales or the relationship side of the business, because that's the thing that AI cannot actually take over. And but how do I learn that? So I have to learn, I have to build my skills and go into areas that maybe I'm not so comfortable with, like I'm not a great accountant, so finance and accounting, bores me, but I'm a sales and a marketing guy. That's the pace that the bit I love.
Yes.
So I always naturally gravitate there, but I have to learn the accounting and the finance part of the business, because unless I know how the whole operation works, I cannot add value to the team. I
Yes.
cannot understand things from their perspective.
But at the same time, it's very difficult for a person who's very strong on the creative work side to learn the numbers perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy. So don't you think that delegating with authority with an accountant who's capable of taking care of that is a better option for an entrepreneur to try to wade into a system of which she or he is not even knowing the basics?
So yes, because you can't be good at everything. But when you start a business, unless you know how different parts of the business should work, you will, I believe, will fail. And you fail because if you then suddenly start increasing your costs of the business by hiring people who are specialists in certain areas because people are expensive, or you start outsourcing that service to, other services without knowing what are you outsourcing, your costs start ramping up very, very quickly. So unless you can be better at cost management, in the early days, especially in the first year, you have to manage your costs, because if cash flow is not there and you're not managing cash flow, within 18 months, your business is dead in this day and age, because there's so many things you end up spending on, so you have to learn fast across the business. Think about, where do you need the support? What exactly do you need? Be really clear, and then bring, either freelancers or services in who can help you, rather than take on too many full-time employees to start with. Unless you have huge, deep pockets, it's a different story. And most new businesses now, they don't have those deep pockets. And the investments are not there now, because most investors are earning more by putting their money in the bank, because they earn better interest than the returns they get from investing in new business. Yes. But there are some people who will take a risk, and be with you. Personally, I've decided to go it alone. I don't have any investors in my business. I've invested the cash myself. I have very few people hands-on, but I outsource services and I use AI. So I'm now learning what pieces of the jigsaw come together. So it's exciting. So I think 2026 is going to be an exciting time. So we'll start piecing the jigsaw in different ways next year.
So as an entrepreneur currently, you're heading how many businesses?
To be honest, it's really two. So, so I have TKOP World in the UK and I have a TKOP World here, in the UAE. And under that, I've got, a few key initiatives, like Healthy Minds Club is one. So that's my UAE business. And then we have the Business Culture Awards, which is another one. And then I have a coaching business and I have a consulting business, mainly in the retail and loyalty side and organizational change. So those are the sort of streams of business that I do, and then, as a little passion project that I had, I launched my book. So now I've got very into how do I get the book into the big bad world out there? How do I share my story? And how do I create a few working sessions that people can learn from, from the book chapters? So that's what I've done.
So YANGA Unplugged has been a huge success in the UAE.
I'd say it's been a success. Is it a huge success? I don't know how you define huge.
No, I loved reading it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Thank you for that. But it's a story that's out there. I think there's more I need to do. We're about to just get into India in the next week. In fact, so in Mumbai, it's going to be out there in bookstores. So that's the first sort of foray into the bookstores, and we're moving with it. What we've done is, created some workshops around YANGA Unplugged, just to bring some easy, simple workshops for aspiring leaders who can learn from sort of real life experiences. There's no theory in the book.
So, how important it is for us to foster a very well defined purpose?
If you want to succeed as an entrepreneur, and you want to make a difference in the world, you have to have a clear purpose. I didn't have a clear purpose up until about 2 years ago. And so I was going from here to there and switching things around, thinking I'm doing the right thing. But it was only 2 years ago when I had my own coach, a beautiful lady who's been coaching for 50 years in the US. We connected, she was coaching me, and we identified what my purpose was going to be. It took about 6 months. I did a lot of soul searching, heavy thinking and reflections. And my purpose is to inspire and improve the quality of life of as many people as I can. So that's my overall purpose in life. Everything else fits underneath this.
Yes, the coaching, the book, the workshops, the events, and the Healthy Minds Club.
If my book impacts one person in a positive way, I think I've done my job.
Yes.
If I can change one person's way of thinking and improve their life, I think the book has done its job. But I want to, I know there's many things in there that relate to many people. So I'm going to see how I can, spread the story and YANGA is all about having a positive attitude to life and a lot of self-confidence and self-belief. And I actually think there's many people out there who lack self-belief, who have limiting beliefs, mainly because they're a bit fearful of what the world is going, how the change is happening so fast. They don't know which way to go, who's there to help them.
So how to do away with self-limiting beliefs?
So limiting beliefs, everyone feels limiting beliefs are, somebody else's problem, but they're not, they're your own. And I'm a strong believer that the only person who sets any limiting beliefs is yourself. It's in your own mind. And anyone who feels, because somebody said this, I have a limiting belief, it's not. It's the way you've responded to that person's reaction. So if you can reframe the way you think about what people have said, or the way you think about situations and how you react and respond, you overcome your limiting beliefs.
So do you think that it's only self-discipline that will help us deal with these self-limiting beliefs and how we are stopping ourselves from things which could help us grow?
So I'd say there's 3 things.
Okay.
One is very few people spend time on themselves because we are always thinking about everybody else, right? We're thinking about family. We're thinking about our bosses. We're thinking about our teams. We're thinking about, what are we going to have for dinner? What are we going to do? This. Even basic decisions like what are we having for dinner sometimes in a family becomes an issue because everyone has different requirements, right? So you have to spend time on yourself. So even if it's just 10 minutes, in fact, in my book, I've said 12 minutes, spend 12 minutes a day on yourself. That's 1 minute. That's 30 seconds per hour of the day. It's nothing, right? Finding 12 minutes is a really hard thing to do for most people because you think we're too busy. So find time for yourself to think about what's good for me today. That's one thing. Second thing, you have to reset how you respond to people's reactions and responses and opinions. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody will have a response to whatever you say because now it's so easy. They'll flick a quick WhatsApp message or whatever it is, quick reactions. Doesn't mean you have to react quickly. So pause. Think about how you want to respond because quite often you get an email and everyone will say, I have to quickly respond to this email.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have about 5,000 emails in my inbox I haven't even responded to, right? Because sometimes you have to think about things. And it's not because I don't want to respond. I'm thinking, I don't need to respond to this. It's just something I need to know. I don't need to respond to this. But when you do quick responses, it starts causing a little bit of flurry of back and forth, and then your time is wasted. So pause. So think about yourself, reflect, pause before you communicate. And the last thing to improve limiting beliefs is the communication that you put out there, the words that go. because it's easy now to flick a quick message and then you think, oh my God, I should have thought before I sent this.
Yeah.
And so that's why the communication and effective communication becomes such a critical thing in this today's world where we're moving at such a pace. And all of this is covered in sort of YANGA Unplugged in terms of how you navigate that journey right the way through to not letting AI and the advanced tech overcome all the sort of strengths in your mind, but embrace it and take it forward and, use it to your advantage. But, making the right choices.
Yes.
How you communicate is a choice, and most people don't think about it first. They'll react afterwards.
Yes, true. As a coach, when you are helping people understand themselves better, what are some of the techniques you are relying on?
So coaching sort of fluctuates. It's a bit of you have to flex your time depending on the individual. But there's one specific technique that I use, which is we call it the GROW model, right? So GROW, and it's all about making sure you've got the right goal, because coaching has to have a goal. It starts with building that rapport with the individual, and you have to set really clear goals for a certain period of time. And so you set the goal, you then look at the reality, and so that's the R part. What's the reality towards you achieving that goal? What's currently happening? Then what are your options to overcome the reality, if that's a challenge, and to optimize to get to your goal? And the last one is the will, your will to action. If you don't have action, and this again goes back to the whole YANGA story, it's all about take action and don't look back, because there's nothing you can do with whatever you've done. You can only affect what you're going to do today, tomorrow, day after, in the next hour. But it's all about the will to action. And the will to action, a good coach will enable the coachee to take on that accountability and ownership and say, yeah, I will do that action. I'll take it on. And that's how you build out your coaching program, because then every month, they come back and say, yeah, I did that. And if they haven't, then you go back to, okay, what's reality? What happened? Where did it block? And that conversation takes place until the mindset starts shifting. And coaching is about changing habits.
Yes.
And habits take time to change.
Take time and action.
Yeah, take time, and you have to commit to that action. And you can have an action plan, but if you don't have the will to execute that plan, that's it. So the will is in your heart and mind, and that's what coaches bring out. Good coaches will bring out that what's stopping that will to action, because there's many things that stop that. I'm tired. I need to sleep. I need to eat. I need to go to the family. I have to go to the sports day at the school. There's so many excuses I hear. But those are not excuses as such, but these are just things that people have to live through.
Yes.
And it's only coaching. What coaching does is creates thinking time. So that 1 hour a month is your thinking time away from all the noise.
True.
And that's what coaches do. That's what they help people think. And change.
And change, yes.
Yeah, we're not therapists. We're not, because that's a different skill. This is purely a mindset shift, and a reframing of how you think about situations.
Yes, how you think about situations and how you respond to them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's it.
Very true. What is real happiness in life?
Wow, what a killer question. What is real happiness?
Like we have talked about goals, we have talked about reflection, we have talked about correcting ourselves, we've talked about achievements. So what brings real happiness?
If you can wake up every morning and say, I'm at peace with the world, with my situation, I believe that's happiness. And peace comes in different ways for different people. But if you can really wake up and say, I'm at peace with where I am, that's happiness. Everything else, in my opinion, is irrelevant. You may be there trying to make everybody else happy, thinking you're happy. but you have to wake up in the morning and say, am I happy with where I am? Have I got peace in my heart and in my mind? If you have, you've done it.
Thank you. This is lovely.
That's where we are. And, and everyone strives for being happy.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Everybody strives. Who doesn't want to be happy?
Yes, like the end goal of everything for people, not just 1, 2, 3, for everybody, whether it be it earning more money, success in the job, having great family, having more children, having a comfortable life, owning luxury, driving a best car, wearing the best dresses, everything we do to be happy.
That's right. I know some of the richest people around, they're not happy. I know some of the people who haven't got any money, they're not happy. I know people who have got brilliant careers. They're at the top of the corporate ladder and they're not happy. But there are some people who have just got things balanced and think, this is my situation. And today I'm going to just be comfortable in my situation. These are the happiest people. If you can wake up in the morning and bounce out of bed and say, right, today I'm going to take on the world. I'm going to do my thing. The fire in your belly, I love what I do. I've been running this business now for the last year. I set it up in January. Every day I get up, I bounce out of bed, and I love what I do. I didn't have that for a few years in the corporate world. I was feeling a bit lost, in a haze, thinking, how do I get out of this? And when I left that job, it was a well-paid, high-profile job that I had. The family didn't like it. The friends didn't like it. Everybody gave an opinion saying, oh my God, you've just destroyed your life. In fact, I created a new life. And that's given me fire in my belly.
You actually took charge of everything.
I took charge of my life.
Yes.
And that's exactly what has given me peace in my world. And it's busy, it's challenging. Of course it is. Setting up a business and getting it going is not easy.
I've been living this way for 12 years.
Yeah, there you go. So you've had peace for 12 years. That's brilliant. Look at this. Excellent. So I'll have to learn a lot more from you then.
It's amazing,
this, for sure.
Really.
Yeah.
When you wake up every day and you say, it's amazing.
Yeah. And, I just love the daily challenge. I think it's
you enjoy it.
Exactly. I enjoy my work. I can take time out if I need a break. I don't need to ask permission for anybody to say I need annual leave or anything. I just take a day off,
and do your thing.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So I think that's where peace comes in and the happiness. And I think everyone's seeking it, but people have a fear of the change. That's the thing.
Actually, people have a fear of giving up on something they have in hand. And they feel that what I'm holding on to is actually my lifeline. And if I let go of this, and actually experience the freedom, I'll be in a dark, shady place. And when I'm falling into that space where I have complete freedom, I might have a disaster.
And that's exactly it. And then there's this fear of the consequence, of the unknown. And, I think a lot of people will stick to jobs in corporate world because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
But every job in a corporate company in today's world and going forward in the next 5 years is at risk. Technology is going to start changing and shifting a lot of things, and when I look at stats that say 85 million jobs are going to go in the next 3 years, that's a big amount of people. That's a lot of jobs these are jobs that will disappear.
Yes, exactly. So it's about time that everybody starts thinking about what they have to actually do.
Yeah, and how they can make themselves relevant for the future. How do you get future readiness? And that's the thing. And that means you have to keep learning. That learning cycle has to be part of your everyday life. You have to read. A lot of people don't read anymore. They skim things through.
I'm afraid for the younger people, honestly. Like for younger people, let's say the teens, you have to pull them down, make them sit with a book to read something.
There's, I came across an educational establishment recently where they were struggling because there were kids who struggled to write because they're so used to typing. They don't know how to take a pen and a paper and write stories.
Yes, because everything is in their laptops and iPads and mobile phones.
The general view from the focus group I had with some of the younger teenagers were like, well, why do we need to write? We can just type everything. That's a mindset.
That's a mindset. It's also a habit.
That's
because
it.
your mind and your eyes and your
Yeah.
hands have accepted the fact that we have to
Exactly.
type and not
Exactly.
write.
So, some education establishments in the UK now going back to the old style, pen, paper, write.
Same in Australia.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's important, I think, because what happens when you write? You slow down. Typing's very fast. When you
Yes.
slow down, you think about what you're writing. When you're typing, nobody thinks. That's why these responses go really quickly on email. And then we all wonder, oh my God, why did I write that? I should have, how can I take it back? And then you can't take it back.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. So, what is one message that you want to give to the people out there who are watching us today?
The one message. So I would say you have to take charge of your own career and your own life. There's nobody coming to save anybody. And that limiting belief that you might have in your mind is really down to you. So unless you shift that dial and stop that limiting belief, nobody's going to come. Right? Nobody's going to change that for you. Only you can do that. So going forward, everybody needs to just think about, how do I take charge of my life, create the world where I'm at peace.
Lovely. What is one message for an entrepreneur who's listening to us?
For an entrepreneur, don't underestimate how much work it takes to set up the business, and be open to learning your entire business. This is the only way you can scale.
Learning is the
You
key.
need to know the end-to-end operation, because without that, it's really hard to know where you have to apply your knowledge and expertise and bring in the experts to do other parts of the work.
Yes, great. Makes a lot of sense, definitely.
Yeah, and don't overspend in the first year.
Financial discipline is important.
You got to have cash flow. You got to have at least 2 months worth of cash flow. Otherwise, it's going to be a hard gig.
Yes, I see so many younger people are just jumping and taking the leap and thinking that they will fly, because everybody has got this romanticism around entrepreneurship. That
Look, everyone probably has it in them to be an entrepreneur. It's then, can you really take the fight and do it? Have you got the grit? Because you have to have grit and a strong, resilient mind, because you're going to go through ups and downs, and you're going to have some bad days and good days. And, you have to have that grit and resilience to get through it. And, if you're slightly hesitant setting up your business about how you're going to do this, then just take your time. That's what I would say. Take your time and think. Do it when you're ready.
Yes, true. Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. I truly enjoyed my time with you.
No, thanks, Nousheen. Really appreciate you having me here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.